Today we're going to make a Tinkercad 3D printable flower pot. So let's get cracking. We're going to start at tinkercad.com. It is fun, free, and you can simply sign in with Google. Today we're going to simply hit create 3D design. I like to start by naming it, and this will be flower pot. And then I want to say thanks to Tim for the question. This was in my Patreon messaging area. If you've never seen it before, you can use the bit.ly up above to find it. Now we're going to make this with a cone, but then Tim wanted to switch it to a square. Let me show you how to make that happen. We're going to start by bringing out a cone. We're going to set its top radius to 50 and the bottom radius to 32, and we're going to make the height 70. Now I do want to tell you that we're typing these numbers because if you drag the handles, it breaks these. I'll show you real quickly. Now this says 110, which is definitely not a radius of 50. To be precise, which we're going to be, typing the numbers is the way to go. If I go back to Control Z, it does match, and if I do the 64, we're in good business for smooth sides as well. Now we're going to need to cut out this flower pot. Let's do that by doing Control D, Shift Nudge, and then we're going to change the numbers on this one so that we have walls that are 4 millimeters thick. To do that, we simply subtract 4 from each of the previous numbers. 50 becomes 46, 32 becomes 28, and 70 becomes 66. And press enter. I am going to quickly convert that to a hole. Let's grab the two of them, choose L for align, make the purple one the boss, and choose center. And we do want that hole to come to the top. Now we can select the two and do Control G to union group. Bang! Flower pot bottom. Now we would need a drainage system. I'm not going to put that in the video. I'm going to let you come up with your own ways. And I'm going to show you an awesome creation at the end by ZDP 189. Right now I want to put on the next piece. We're going to do that by putting the work plane up on this edge. And then we're going to search for an awesome shape called the soft box. If you type soft and press enter, it arrives, and just like the previous shape, we need to type the measurements, not drag the handles. If you remember our old radius, we chose 50, which means we need a dimension of 100 right here. Type that in for both X and Y. And then for this section, we're going to set Z at 18 millimeters. I'll show you why in a moment, and we're going to set this to 50 just so that it fills in completely. It does take a moment to snap, and now we need to bring out another cone. When you move to the cone, simply grab it and we can cruise it to the edge of that shape. And then we need to type in a magic number right here. This radius we're using is 68.96 and press enter. The base radius is 50. That's going to make it so that it matches the top we had a moment ago. Of course, we're going to set that height to the same 18 we just had. I'm going to switch this to 64 again, just keeping the same smoothness. And I'm going to hit W for work plane. Let's select all of this. Make sure we hit L for align and click the bottom part we built and choose center and center. You'll notice that these match exactly. That number is derived from the distance from corner to corner on the square, which was 137.92. So once again, when we click out here, we used half of that, the radius, 68.96. Now we're going to use the amazing Intersect in a moment. Do W for work plane and set the work plane on top. Grab that yellow one and do Control D and drop. Just to make this look even cooler, we're going to set the wall to the 4, and you can see how instantly it snaps to that square transition. Now we're going to use the amazing Intersect, but before we do, let's use the new V command to hide the bottom, hide the top, click somewhere else. Now you can grab those two and do Control I to intersect. Bang! We have got a transition that goes from the cone to a square. How cool is that? Of course, we still need to cut out this middle. We can do that by simply doing Control D, Shift Nudge to the side so that we can check it out. If we double click to edit, step 1 is to click on the cone, and we're going to change these numbers right here. Simply type 64.7, once again scaling for those walls, and then we need to make this also 46. You'll notice that's the same subtraction of 4 that we did earlier. Now we can click on our yellow one And instead of 100, we're going to type 92 and 92. If you're doing any math, that is 8 or 4 from each side being subtracted. With our parts adjusted, I'm going to do Shift Select, L for Align, make one of them the master, and make sure we choose Center and Center. Now those corners match up. I can click outside to finish the edit. Let's hit H to make it a whole. I'm going to grab the 2, choose L for Align, and of course we want the yellow one to be the boss, and choose Center and Center. Of course, now I can grab the 2. You can see how awesome those walls are. Choose Control G to group, and we can do Show All to bring back the other parts of our wicked cool flower pot. Alright, so I'm going to stop this tutorial right here. You've got the ability to make your own and make them custom, but I do want to show you something awesome. If we back up to the Tinkercad dashboard, and of course use the search and type in HLMT23 and press enter. This takes you to what I call the HLMT23 tag. It's currently sorted by relevance. We're going to switch to recent. There are tons of fantastic designs. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you give them reactions. Absolutely love the TED Lessons. Tinker Sloth, that's fantastic. Of course, hard to pass up the awesome Thunderbolt. Jay Haram, thank you so much for sharing. What I really need you to do, though, is scroll down and find one of ZDP89's awesome designs. Of course, you can check these out and give them a reaction, but what I want you to do is to visit his profile. This is because if you search down through, you will find the awesome square pots that he created. They are all fantastic. You can check them all out in 3D. They are also set to copy, and Tinker SquarePot version 2 was pretty slick, but it had a little trouble printing. So then SquarePot version 3 arrived. Of course, it is set to copy in Tinker, but you can check this out in 3D before you do. It has got an awesome drainage system that is absolutely fantastic. Since it is set to copy in Tinker, you can ungroup it and explore everything about it at your leisure. Once again, thank you so much, ZDP, for the awesome projects. Wrapping up, I do want to quickly say thanks again to Tim for the awesome question in the Patreon messaging group. Of course, thank you, ZDP, for sharing your epic skills as well. And thank you for watching. I'm totally looking forward to seeing cool new shares of how you use this epic technique. I do want to say thank you to everybody that supports me via YouTube memberships. Don't forget there are 3 different levels of support starting as low as $5 a month. With any level of support, you get early access to videos. Make sure you also pay attention for those members only posts. Also, a massive shout out to everybody that supports me via Patreon. We are almost up to 500 members. It has a fantastic messaging area. You can ask questions, share designs, gain skills. Of course, you can learn more with the bit.ly up above or the link in the description. Finally, friends, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget, every time you like, hype, share a video, add a comment down below, or click subscribe, you're helping HLModTech get just a little bit bigger, which absolutely makes my day. Friends, have a glorious day, and keep tinkering.